These French meets can run very, very late into the night, but Jakob Ingebrigtsen, in his first race of the indoor season. I wonder if this was in the cards anyway to run a mile here, or how much of it was geared up by what was going on in the States. There were phenomenal times being dropped by people. Ingebrigtsen, third all-time outdoors in the mile, with 3:43 from the Prefontaine Classic a couple of seasons ago. This is his mile debut indoors. It's of course the world record holder over the 1500 here a few years ago, 3:30.6. They're taking a 1500 metre split today, and there was a bit of talk. He was almost saying he thought he could break both records at once. Local athlete Romain Mornay, getting better with every race underneath 3:40 this season. He's been introduced to the crowd. Lots of talent here behind. Elliot Giles, of course, the world record holder on the roads at this distance. Sam Prakel, bronze medalist at the World Road Running Championships in Riga a couple of seasons ago. He's having a decent season. He's done lots of racing over in the States. He's around about 3:50 so far this season. Elliot Giles, second fastest all-time indoors over 800 metres. Very proficient over 8 or 15. Jakob Ingebrigtsen there on the inside of the outer flight. Whole host of pacemakers. I think we've got Jan Frisch of Czechia. I think he's just on the end of this line, this back line. I think he's going more at the world champs standard. 3:33 or so for him, and there will be a set of lights for men targeting that, and then there will be two pacemakers, Philip Sassenek and Peter Sisk of Belgium, trying to escort Jakob Ingebrigtsen as fast as he can possibly go around the track. Of course, the world record is the target for Jakob Ingebrigtsen. It always is, it always would be, regardless of what Yared Nuguse did last week. But I wonder if that's added a little bit more fuel to the fire for Ingebrigtsen. As we enter the first 100 metres here, the pacemakers go tearing off. And the rest of the field, I think there's a mark of respect there from Elliot Giles, from Chipachite, from Nielsen, just to not get in Jakob Ingebrigtsen's way. If Ingebrigtsen's trying to run faster than anyone's ever run before, the last thing you want to be is the man that got in his way. But Ingebrigtsen, we haven't seen him since the European Cross-Country Championships, where he took his 14th European title in Antalya in Turkey. He's unstoppable at those European Championships. So he's been away, he's been on training camps. By all accounts, everything's doing well, running more miles than ever. But this, I don't know, Chris, it's almost like it's a lose-lose. I mean, if he doesn't run a world record today, Ingebrigtsen, is that kind of by default a defeat to the hands of Yared Nuguse? I don't know.
Well, on two sides of the Atlantic, how good is it within 5 days to have two, I guess, tilts at this kind of thing? Ingebrigtsen, you mentioned everything's been going well. I quoted him saying the machinery is running smooth and I'm hungry. He says he's watched, I'm sure, on what's been happening. Loves this track as well. Three wins previously here in Liévin over different distances. But as you say, first time at the indoor mile. Rare to have a 1500 and a mile on the same program. But such is the quality of athletes that want to come here and run.
I think that was exactly the answer for the meet organisers. There were just so many men that wanted to run on this track. They had to put on that B, inverted commas, 1500 metres that resulted in a 3:32. I mean, that's ridiculous. But this race here, as they move through, that's 600 metres run, 700 metres run for the men here. They are bang on the lights. We know that Jakob Ingebrigtsen likes to pick it up. He likes to get faster and faster as the laps go by. Now, Yared Nuguse was 1:53.29 through the 800 metres. That is almost identical from Jakob Ingebrigtsen. So Jakob Ingebrigtsen, he's on the lights. That shows us he's on pace. But I don't think the lights will go even. I think they will wind up. So Jakob Ingebrigtsen just getting himself ahead of Elliot Giles, that's committed to this fast pace as well. And Nielsen, he's running well, the Dutch athlete, national record the other day over 3,000 metres. So they're forming their own group back there with Chite as well. But Jakob Ingebrigtsen with 3 laps to go, he's starting to look a tiny bit tense here, Jakob Ingebrigtsen.
Well, the previous record before it was beaten by Nuguse and indeed by Hobbs Kessler last weekend had stood for 6 years to Yomif Kejelcha. Just 5 days later, Ingebrigtsen now out on his own to try and threaten this men's indoor mile world record. He has all sorts of marks, of course, outside, but this is another one that he's looking to add to his collection.
Yared Nuguse was 2:50 with 400 metres to go last weekend on Sunday. Jakob Ingebrigtsen was slightly faster there for my money. Nuguse had company. He had Hobbs Kessler breathing down his neck, but he did do a lot of the running. So you feel like there's more in the tank than Nuguse. And if that's true, then you've got to believe that Jakob Ingebrigtsen is capable of a world record. Could we see the world record stand for just 5 days? what a state men's mile running is in at the minute. Men's 1500 metre running. There goes Jakob Ingebrigtsen. He takes the bell. He's just gone underneath 23 seconds for the first time. Yared Nuguse 3:31.74 through 1500 metres. That's going to be somewhere there on the back straight. I don't think we'll get a split, but it's quick. Jakob Ingebrigtsen is on the front of the blue lights. The blue lights are for the pacemaker. The world record pace is the green lights behind. Jakob Ingebrigtsen is leaving the lights behind. He's tearing down the track. He's tired. His legs are starting to falter, but it is another world record for Jakob Ingebrigtsen. He has the 1500 metre indoor mark, and now he's got the mile mark. That has obliterated the mark of Yared Nuguse, a second and a half faster than the American ran last week. That is some run from Jakob Ingebrigtsen. He looks absolutely spent. He looks exhausted. That took every bit he had of it, and he had a second and a half to spare. I thought he might do it, but not by that much.
Well, I'm going to bring back that quote I mentioned mid-race. The machinery is running smooth and I'm hungry. Understatements of the year, I would suggest, wouldn't you? He will have known exactly the kind of shape he was in. Yes, he had to do a lot of that second half of the race on his own, in contrast to Nuguse and Kessler pushing each other last week. But that is an absolutely massive chunk off that previous world record. Remember, Nuguse and Kessler were the first athletes to go sub 3:47. Ingebrigtsen has just gone sub 3:46 and then sub.
Oh wow! I was really excited to see the form that Jakob Ingebrigtsen is in, and there have been lots of reports written since Millrose. The American athletes did do phenomenally there, and I've been reading reports where they're saying, well, you know, these medalists, people that beat Jakob Ingebrigtsen in Paris, are improving. You know, he's got to do something special here to even keep himself in the conversation. What does he do? He goes and runs a massive world record. And that's a really special run. I mean, hopefully we'll see some of them clash in the World Indoor Championships. But yeah, that's very special run.
Interestingly, he did quote in the sort of run-up to the February, I guess, intensity of meetings just stepping up a little bit. He said, the European Indoors is definitely on the horizon. Appledorn, Nanjing, we'll see, he said. So nothing committed on that one. Just doing a quick bit of maths, looking at the history of the all-time list. That is the biggest chunk that the world record I think has ever been broken by.
I was nervous. I was reading the clock wrong then for it to be that much quicker. And his 1:43 was brilliant at the Prefontaine Classic outdoors, and he was pushed all the way to the wire by Nuguse, and that was a very competitive race. You know, at the tail end of the season, so you think he might have been getting tired, but to start, to have your first indoor race as a world record performance, and that brings his tally to 3 world records, 15 indoors, 3K outdoors, 2 world bests, the 2 miles and the 2K, and now he adds this, the mile indoor world record, and he's getting closer to that elusive 1500 metre world outdoor record, and to start 2025 like that, I think that should be looking worried as well.
Yeah, 3:26.73 outdoors already. Yeah, his 1500 metre world record was set 3 years ago on this very track, 3:30.6. You mentioned he loves Liévin. That's 4 wins at this meet, and it's great for the meeting, isn't it, to have someone like him headlining as his season opener, as you say. 10 global champions are here in this meeting. National record for Stefan Nilsson, who's had a terrific couple of weeks or so, as you mentioned earlier on. As we see Henrik pretty happy. The other brother, Philip, is running later on as well.
Results of the men's mile, a new world record for Jakob Ingebrigtsen, 3:45.14. Stefan Nilsson, a national record, is second in the week. And Cathal Doyle of Ireland, a season's best, just behind.